Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jeevanam Kavibhireeditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadadatam Bhuvi Grinante Ye Bhurida Jana. Sri Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Mokadhita, recorded by M. Mahendranath Gupta, the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. Dakshineshware Thakur Sri Ramakrishna, Dvitiya Darshan Guru Shishya Samvad. Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar, second meeting and the dialogue between the Guru and the disciple. Sri Ramakrishna says, Vyakulata holi arunodoy hoy. অতঃপর সূর্য দেখা দেবেন ব্যাকুলতার পরই ঈশ্বর দর্শন. This is a unique kind of sadhana which Ramakrishna repeatedly has mentioned in the Kathamrita. Well known, there's nothing new about it. And the beauty of this kind of sadhana is that directly approaching God. This is one thing we should all try to understand, integrate into our sadhana, feel and practice. What is that? God is your very own. Ishwar ke apan korte shikho. This is the message. Learn to make God your very own. Tini por non, tini apon. He is not a stranger to you, he is your very own. He is the life of your life, he is the eye of your eyes, he is the ear of your ears. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manoyad vachoha vacham savu pranasya pranaha chakshushas chakshurati muchyadhiraha pretyasmal lokad amrita bhavanti. The Kenopanishad. In a different context about Brahman he says, Brahman is Ishvara himself, seen through the veil of space, time and causation or Maya. So he is your very, very own. He is dearest to you than the dearest which you have. He is your own very self. And you can think of him as most beloved, Priyatama, because you are is your own self. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Upanishad. Everything becomes beloved of you because of the Atman. So he is the most beloved, and therefore your whole heart and mind should go to him. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity except to love God and him only to serve. Thomas A. Kempis, the imitation of Christ. He is your very, very own, and except to love him with your heart and soul and to serve him as present in all beings. Sarva bhuta shayasthitaha. The Bhagavan says in the Gita and the Bhagavatam also, Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhuta Shayasthitaha. I am the Atman in all beings, residing in the hearts of all, and serving that Lord present in all beings is the supreme form of worship. The Bhagavatam says, neglecting that Lord who is present in all beings, and rather than serving him, a person spends all his time worshipping an image in the temple. Archa Vidambanam says. Repeatedly this idea is there in our scriptures, in the Hindu scriptures. He is your most beloved. Love him with all your heart. All the worldly love that you have is ephemeral, temporary, transient, will vanish. Non-eternal. We know it, but such is the power of Maya that we are dragged into that. Don't condemn it. All that is necessary, but love your wife and children and friends and everybody in and through God. So it's a kind of vertical loop. You go to God and through Him you love them, not horizontally. If you love them as the manifestations of the Supreme Being, as your most beloved soul, pranasya prana, then you will see that your whole life changes. You become elevated, become pure. And what is the method for that? Vyakulata, intense longing. Just like a fish cannot remain without water, I just can't live without God. Swami Ramakrishna says in one of the talks, if a fish is taken out of water and put in a throne, given a great honor as the King of Kings and give an all honor and gifts, what will the fish say? I don't want all this, please put me back into water. In exactly the same way, if you can feel as fish out of water without God, then that's called Vyakulata. Vyakulata holi arunodai holo. Tarpor surjo dekha deben, Vyakulatar pori Ishwar darshan. Simplest method of sadhana. Long for Him, intensely call upon Him. As a child will call the mother, intensely. Ramakrishna says, if you combine these three pulls, teen tan aankh hole Ishwar ke pawa jaye. Vishoyer prati tan, মায়ের সন্তানের প্রতি টান আর সতীর পতির প্রতি টান. Just like a worldly person has tremendous attraction for his wealth, for his possessions, just like a mother has tremendous attraction for his child, and just like a chaste wife has so much of attraction for the pure husband, devoted husband, if you can combine these three kinds of pulls, then you can get God. He gives worldly examples for us to understand. Everybody understands the attraction that ordinary greedy people feel towards wealth. Everybody understands the attraction of a mother towards the child. Everybody understands the attraction of a chaste, pure wife towards a devoted husband. This is well known in the world. So Sri Ramakrishna gives worldly examples for us to understand. If God pulls you and you have such tremendous attraction and love for God, and God's vision is near at hand, think of Him, meditate upon Him, sing His glory, constantly try to be close to Him. This is called practice of the presence of God. Brother Lawrence was a Christian monk. He used to practice this. It's a small book, Practice the Presence of God. He says, I used to practice His presence. Wherever I am, whatever I am, I never asked anything of God. I was so happy to be in His presence. Imagine it, even if it may be in imagination, but it is true. This is the beauty of studying this Kathamrita. You imagine you're in the presence of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is sitting there. Narayan, Rakhal, so many devotees have come. Song is going on. Sri Ramakrishna is singing, dancing, going into samadhi. Imagine yourself to be one of them and practice the presence. By constantly practicing the presence and thinking of them, wherever you are, whatever you do, you practice His presence. You are in the presence of God. Some people carry a small photo of Sri Ramakrishna or the Rishtadevata, just like parents carry the children's photographs. Beloved carries the photograph of a lover. These are common things in the world. So some people carry always the photograph of the Ishtadevata, the deity. Now and then you look at it, and then you bow down, you meditate, you think, and after some time, you don't need any external aid at all. You see the Lord present in your heart, shining, luminous, tangible, vivid, and you feel great elevation in His presence. Practice His presence. And when the intensity of your love goes on increasing through practice, you feel that you just can't live without Him. Wherever you turn, you see only His glory, you see His presence. It is said of the Gopikas and the Radhika and so on, they were so much saturated, completely submerged, as it were, in the divine nectarine stream of God's love, Krishna's love, that they saw Krishna everywhere, as if they have been mesmerized. Everywhere they saw only Sri Krishna's presence. That is the intensity of longing. So Vyakulata, holy Arunoday hoy, tahar por Surya dekha deben, Vyakulata pori Ishwar darshan. One lesson from here is directly approach God. You don't need any mediation. What we normally think of sadhana is that we have to sit quietly. Such practice there in the Bhagavad Gita, in many of the Yoga Shastras and so on. You sit quietly and then calm your mind and meditate and so on. These practices also, after some time, sadhana itself becomes a huge hindrance between you and God. I'll give you a simple example. Suppose you love your mother, your father, your parents intensely, or the wife loves the husband intensely, or the mother loves the child intensely. When the child is ill, or when the mother is ill and the son is looking after the mother, will you sit before the mother and then meditate and say, "Oh mother, how much you have done for me?" Mother says, "Please don't praise me, please give me some water to drink and give me some medicines." So you don't praise and sing the glory of somebody who you intensely love, but you serve. That is why Swami Vivekananda introduced the Seva Yoga. If you love somebody, serve him or her. What is the use of that love unless it is expressed through service, seva? Seva is an expression of your intense bhakti. That is why Bhakti Shastras say the puja that you do and the seva that you do is Atmavat Seva. Atmavat Seva means you love the other man, other person, as if he or she is your own very self. Just like I take care of my body and my mind and my possessions, much more intensely I take care of the other man. I praise him and talk to him. Talk to God. Feel his presence. Directly approach him. No mediation is necessary. No mantras and tantras are necessary. No yoga practices are necessary. You straight go to him like a child and cry and pray. So Ramakrishna has discovered this new practice for this new age and made it extremely important for our daily life. It is not a new practice in that sense, a very, very old practice which is well known, but somehow the simplest things become obsolete. If something is too simple, we try to ignore it. Those who know good English or Sanskrit or some language If you write something and show them, they will say, ah, this is too simple. The language is like a language of a school child. It should be very serious, something which is very grand and poetry. And there is one person who wrote such a complicated language. And in Sanskrit, samasapada. One word combined to another word with samasa. A big paragraph is a single sentence. Sanskrit has this beauty. So I told him, sir, you are writing such a... Ah, that's it. Nobody will understand. That is what that is called scholarship. What is the use of a scholarship if your language makes people unable to understand what you are writing? This is the pride of scholarship. Vidvatta, Vidwan, Pandita. Real scholars, those who are full of knowledge and wisdom, they speak in the simplest language. Look at the Kathamrita, for example. Such a simple language, such a simple ideas, but deep and profound. More and more you read it. Newer and newer ideas come to you. And you feel so deeply absorbed, pleased, and soothed. It cools you. Simple, straightforward. Simplicity and straightforwardness. This is something we have to really practice and know. Let us be simple. Ramakrishna says in the Kathamrita, Shohaj na hole shohaj ke pa jaina. God's name is Shohaja. Sahaja means simple, straightforward, unsophisticated. So unless you are Sahaja, unless you are simple, you can't really contact and be in touch with that which is simple. God is the simplest. Be simple, be straightforward, be in touch with Him. Go and tell Him, go and cry to Him. This is a practice which Ramakrishna not only propagated as a message, but he himself as an embodiment of the practice. For everything directly went to Mother Kali. Can you think of that like a child? Even when he was chronologically aged, like a child he ran to the mother for everything. Totapuri, his Advaita Guru had come, but just by seeing him he realized here is an extraordinary aspirant, Adhikari, eligible for practice of Advaita sadhana. Then I told him, Beta, Advaita sadhana karoge. Then he said, Ami to jani na maa ke jigashu kare ashi. So I don't know. I will ask my mother and tell you. Totapuri thought that perhaps he is going to his mother. He ran to the temple and stood before the image of Kali and said, Ma, ekjon sannyashi esheche, vishal bado shashru, ekabare digambar. সে বলছে আমাকে অদ্বৈত সাধনা করতে আমি কি করব? A tall sannyasi with a huge beard and completely unclad. He has come and asking me, will you practice Advaita sadhana? Mother, what do you say? Shall I practice? Divine Mother immediately answered, আরে তোর জন্য তো আনিয়েছি রে বাবা, নিশ্চয় করবি বই কি? I have brought that Totapuri Advaita Guru only for your sake. Of course, go and practice Advaita sadhana. Then he came back like a child. Hey, Mother has given me permission. Ma bole dichen. Totapuri thought, what an extraordinary Advaita sadhana. Read this. These are passages. These are incidents. Imagine, meditate on these incidents. How elevating they are. How practical, how elevating, how wonderfully saturated with spirituality. Totapuri thought, this boy really is a spiritual genius. He is the fittest sadhaka for Advaita, but hopelessly spoiled by bhakti. Hopelessly religious. He is going and standing before an image, and then he says, Mother has told me, all right, let me put some jnana, Advaita into him, and everything will be all right. He will be freed of this superstitious approaching and talking to mother and so on. What happened finally was just the opposite. Totapuri is converted into the purest bhakta. He accepted Kali, he accepted Divine Mother, he accepted Shakti before he left. This Jagat Guru, Guru of Gurus. He is the Guru of his own Gurus also. So those incidents are so touching and so elevating. Totapuri used to keep a fire, dhuni. Constantly he will light the fire and meditate. That is the practice of sannyasins. Fire is considered the most sacred in Mimamsa as well as in Vedanta. Pavaka, it's called Pavaka, that purifier. Even now we know fire purifies everything. If you want to sterilize, if you want to de-infect anything, you put it in hot water, heat it, put it under the sun and so on. And fire was considered extremely sacred. Once he was lighting the fire and meditating, one habitual smoker, hemp smoker, ganja khor is called in Bengali, he came, he wanted to take a bit of fire from there for his smoke. And Totapuri got terribly furious with his tongue with which he was tending the fire. He ran behind him to beat him. You fellow, the sacred fire, you are taking it for your smoke? Then Mr. Ramakrishna saw and then was laughing. Why are you laughing like that? Shala tomar brahmagyaner dauta dekhe nilum. You fellow, I have seen the extent of your brahmagyana. You are getting so angry after talking that all is Brahman and I am the supreme Brahman. In Bengali, shala is a slang word which is used. It's not a very strong rebuke, but it's a slang used when you want to slight somebody, disrespectfully talk about somebody. Or sometimes out of affection also it is used. Two friends use this word affectionately. And sometimes even juniors also, you say, out of affection, use this word. But usually it is a disrespectful word. But to call a guru shala, I think only Avatara can do that. Thakur's Leela, if you go on thinking about every incident, you can get simply absorbed and immersed. This is a great Leela Chintana, thinking of the glory and the various sportive deeds of the infinite divinity. For anything and everything, whether it's good, bad, go straight he went and talked to the mother. Narayan once said, oh, you are seeing so many forms of God and talking to them. All that is some psychological aberration. I have read psychology. When the mind becomes slightly distorted, then it sees all kinds of hallucinations. It's called hallucination in psychology. Then Ramakrishna was completely perturbed. The only solution he knew for anything, when he is perturbed, when he is happy, when he is unhappy, when he is sorrowful, for anything and everything, straight go to Mother Kali, Bhavatarini. With tears he said, Ma, নরেন খোড়ো বড় পণ্ডিত বড় বড় বই পড়েছে সেই নাকি বলছে আমার মাথা খারাপ হয়ে গেছে আমি মূর্খ বলে আমাকে ঠকিয়ে দিলি Look at the simplicity. Mother, Naren is a great scholar. He has written some huge books. He says all this is psychological aberration. I depended on you like a simple child. Have you cheated me finally? Showing all these hallucinations? Then the mother spoke back, বলুক না, কতদিন বলবে, সব মানবে, তারপরে দেখবে. All the time Swami is true. Then with a smile in his face he came back. শালা, তোর কথা আর শুনবো না, মা বলছেন সব ঠিক আছে, সব সত্যি. You rascal, Naren, I will not listen to you anymore. My Divine Mother Kali says, Bhavatarini told me, all that you have seen is true, all the visions. And she said, a time will come, Naren will accept everything. See, look at the simplicity. We may say, see, we can go and talk to God. God doesn't talk to us. I also used to feel like that. Let me go and talk. You keep a picture of Ramakrishna, talk to him, weep before him. But you are not getting any response. In the case of Ramakrishna, where he spoke and he cried, and mother also responded. You go on crying, nothing happens, then what do? Their faith comes, Shraddha. When Ramakrishna says it is true, it has to be true, you may not know it now, go on. And he may not directly talk to you, because in Kali Yuga, Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, God directly doesn't speak. Pratyaksha is not easy, but he speaks within the soul of your soul. You have a serious problem, you go and talk to God, and some solution suddenly comes up. From within you see that this is the solution. It may be the voice of God, but you do not know. But if your mind is pure, simple, innocent, and with tremendous vyakulata, longing and earnestness and tenacity, you call upon him for a solution. From within, the solution flashes like that. Innumerable times we can feel that in our own lives. So make it a habit. For every problem, directly go and talk to him, cry to him, meditate upon him, and ask for peace of mind, for solution. In this corona pandemic, the COVID pandemic, the only solution is constantly talking to God, your Ishtadevata, singing his glory, and asking him for peace of mind, for calmness, for joy, for elevation of soul, to come out of depression. And he shall listen. See, Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, it's a beautiful statement. Tini kaan khodke, pipider nupur dhoni parjanto shunte paan, tomar amar akuti bani shunben na, prarthana shunben na. Which means, he is quick-eared. He has such a sharpest hearing that he can hear even the footfall of an ant. Think of a small ant which is moving, and the ant is touching the ground, and sound is being produced. And he can listen to even this little sound. Will he not listen to your earnest prayer and the deep longing? He shall listen. He will listen. He is listening. This faith we should have. If you are blessed, he will come to you perhaps in dreams and visions if you are still blessed. But remember, he is constantly looking after you. He is constantly with you. He is constantly guiding you and elevating you. Know for sure, Swami Brahmananda-ji, the Manasaputra, the mind-born son of Sri Ramakrishna, Rakhal Raj, was asked once by one of his disciples. It is there in the Eternal Companion, the famous book containing the life and teachings of Swami Brahmananda. A disciple asks Brahmananda-ji, does Sri Ramakrishna really exist, and is he looking after us? Brahmananda got excited. What? Who will be here to live and breathe if he doesn't exist and he doesn't look after you? Ko hevanyat kaf pranyat yadesha akasha anando nasyat. Who will be here to live and breathe if this entire akasha is not filled with ananda or bliss or joy? He is constantly with you, looking after you, protecting you, listening to you. Have this faith. People may call you foolish, people may call you superstitious. That is what the so-called intellectuals will tell you. That the intellectuals have their great intellect and be extremely upset and unhappy. Have you seen any intellectually extraordinarily brilliant but without a feeling heart and without faith in God being at any time happy? Show me one example. Intellect doesn't save you beyond a point. What is there in intellect a reason? It goes a few steps and stops. It is through the heart comes inspiration. Swami Vivekananda says this. It is the heart which goes near to God. So, with faith in the Guru, faith in God and faith in the scriptures, faith in the Kathamrita, etc., you call upon him. Vyakulata. Directly approach him. Every one of the disciples, starting from Sharada Devi, the first disciple, Vivekananda, Brahmananda, and everybody, had this one practice. Directly try to contact Sri Ramakrishna and get instructions from him. When Swamiji was toying with the idea of going abroad to participate in the Parliament of Religions, should I go, should I not go? He could not decide. He actually saw a vision of Sri Ramakrishna walking over the waters and calling him. Then he wrote a letter to Sharada Devi. She had a very elevating vision of Sri Ramakrishna merging into the Ganges, and from somewhere Narayan came and took those Ramakrishna Ganges and sprinkled it all around. Wherever a drop of this divine nectarine Amrita, Ramakrishna Ganges fell, a new civilization came up. Then Sharada Devi knew the significance of Narayan in the Ramakrishna Avatara Leela and said, go. Then he went. Directly you can approach and get solutions and answers. It is possible. Believe in this. And make it a habit. Don't depend on human beings. Now it's become a habit with us because we have a mobile phone all the time. It's become a habit with us. For anything, if you are depressed, if you are unhappy, if you are happy, immediately call somebody. Your friend, your beloved, your parents, and somebody. Yeah. And then call him, oh, I am so unhappy. Oh, is it so? No, no, everything will go. From the other end, he gives you a consolation. But it does not work. We are pouring our sorrow to some human being who himself or herself is in deep sorrow. Who can save you? A person in sorrow, can he save you from sorrow? Make it a habit to go to God, talk to him, pour your heart to him. Make it a habit. It's the simplest and the most powerful sadhana that you can really practice. It appears to be so simple, naive, simplistic, perhaps superstitious. Let the intellectuals say what they want, but I need peace, I need joy. This gives me joy. I talk to God, I sing His glory. I am filled by His response. And that gives me greatest joy. You intellectual go and cry, have your intellect and be in depression. I don't care. Remember the example in Holy Mother's life, Sharada Devi. Sharada Devi and her mother, Shamashundari Devi, two women walking barefoot. Mother never wore any footwear in her life. walking all the way, coming to Dakshineshwar. So Ramakrishna was being served by Hridayara Mukhopadhyaya, his nephew. Hridayaram served him so much. He said, like a shadow, he used to serve him. And this is one problem with those who serve. You try to exercise your authority on the person who receives your service. You can see in the ordinary world also. Because the person who you serve is helpless, taking your service, and you think he is obliged to you because you have given service. Sometimes you scold, sometimes you take him to task, sometimes you are so harsh. This is a tremendous drawback, huge danger in service. If you serve somebody, be extremely careful that your egoism doesn't increase. So Hridayaram is controlling Sri Ramakrishna because he is serving him. And Sri Ramakrishna, like a child, used to be afraid of him because he may scold what he will say at what time, like a little child. The moment Shama Sundari Devi and Sharada Devi entered the compound of Dakshineshwar, if you think of this incident, if tears will come to you, and you will realize what lesson this incident has given to you. The moment they entered, Hridayaram shouted, "Why have you come here? Go back! Who asked you to come?" He was afraid that his control over Sri Ramakrishna will go because Sharada will start serving. This is another problem, those who serve. You become possessive. If I love somebody, if I serve somebody, I think that that man is my possession. I have tremendous possessiveness, and nobody else can come to serve him. I will be the sole controller, possessor. This is another danger in service. Helpless lady, a wedded wife legally, being severely scolded by Hridayaram the nephew and asked to retrace their steps and go back. Think of this incident. Close your eyes and think of the incident. What would be anybody's reaction? Either you take it back. Who are you, Hriday? I am the wife. I have every right. Or if you are milder, you will quietly listen and weep, not say anything. But inwardly you will be extremely angry and unhappy. Or you will go to your husband and say, "What is this? Why is he behaving like this? Why don't you take him to task?" What was the reaction of mother? Look at this. You may say it is extremely difficult because everything in spiritual life is difficult. It is the simplest and therefore the most difficult, it appears. And what was Ramakrishna's reaction? Swami Gambhirananda-ji, the biographer, the chronicler of mother's life, writes in Bengali, I read it as a teenager, and this incident left such a tremendously powerful impression on my psyche till today. It haunts me, inspires me, and goads me to practice this. Don't go to any human being for solace or consolation. Go directly to God and cry and ask for solution. Swami Gambhirananda writes in Bengali, I will translate later. Hridayaramer bhoye Thakur agagoda kichu bolilen na. For fear of Hridayaram, Sri Ramakrishna did not say anything from the beginning to end. Simply kept quiet. Just kept quiet. Unsupported by the husband, severely scolded by Ramakrishna's nephew, and helplessly looking around at what to do, Sharada Devi and her mother, you know what she did? Gambhiranji adds, Sharada Deviর মনে হৃদয়রামের প্রতি কোনো ক্ষোভ আর রাগ ছিল না, নিজের প্রতি ঠাকুরের প্রতি কোনো অভিমান আর রাগ ছিল না, ক্ষোভ ছিল না। সোজা ভবতারিণীর কাছে গিয়ে করজোড়ে তিনি বলিলেন, মা আবার যখন আমাকে আনবে তখন আমি আসব, বলে চলে গেলেন। She was not allowed to stay. She had to go back. Gambhiranji writes, Shautilakkhir Sharada, that is the language he uses. Shautilakhi means extraordinarily pure, pious, auspicious, elevated woman, the wife of Sri Ramakrishna. She did not have any rancor or ill will against Hridayaram, and she did not have any kind of pick or unhappiness about her husband not supporting her at all. She straight went to the Bhavatarani's temple, and standing with folded hand, with tearful eyes before Bhavatarani, she said, Mother, when you call me again, when you bring me again, then I will come. And Gambhiranji adds, Sharada Deviর মান অভিমান ক্ষোভ সমস্ত শ্রী জগদম্বার চরণে নিবেদন করিলেন। All her pick, all her anger, all her unhappiness, if any at all, Mother did not have anything. All of them she surrendered at the feet of Mother Kali. Remember this incident. We get angry, we get unhappy, somebody insults us, immediately we react. All that is natural. Take all that and pour it at the feet of the Lord, of the Divine Mother, of the Divine Ishtadevata, the deity. Don't express it to human beings. It creates bad blood, it creates unhappiness, and without any solution. And your heart becomes cool, completely you become light in your heart. This is the practice. For everything, take it to the Lord. Make a habit of talking constantly to your Ishtadevata in the heart. For everything, go to him. This is a practice in temples. In the temples in South India, there is a practice. At the end of the day, when all the bhoga, etc., food has been offered, and the deity is put to rest, Shayana, in the Shayana Ghara, in the bedroom, the trustees go, trustees of the temple, they sit in 2 rows there and give a report to the Lord about the whole day's affairs. What happened to the whole day, how many people came, what were the kind of activities and religious festivities, and submit to the Lord income and expenditure account. When I saw that, I was so touched. These are impressions of childhood which you carry. Because the Lord is the master of the entire temple. The trustees are there just as trust they are asked to take care. That's all. All of us are trustees. This temple of the body and the mind, we are just keeping it, that's all. It's all His. He has given it. And you report to Him. Pratyaksha Anubhuti, what I actually saw, I'll share today. Swami Veereshwaranandaji, 10th President of the Ramakrishna Order, who blessed me, accepted me as his disciple. We have seen when you were Birur Math, he was the president at that time, when he used to come to the temple for pranams, all of us used to go just to watch how he makes pranams. As if he's talking to him entire, he will simply fall flat, as if he's completely surrendering his body, mind and spirit to Sri Ramakrishna. We could see that palpably, tangibly, visibly. Then he will fold his hands, as if he's talking to him, the whole day's report he is giving him. Then almost invariably every day, after making pranams, he will slowly move away. After moving a few yards, again he'll come back and stand and say something and go back. Perhaps there's something which he missed to say, and then he wants to come back and report. Every time, whenever he used to go out, he'll go to the temple and take the permission of the Lord. Whenever he is to return from his trip, he will again first go to the temple and report that I have come back, and then only go to his room. And one of the trips when he is coming back, it's raining heavily. But he said, stop the car, I'll go to the temple, report to Thakur, then I'll go to my room. Then, because no arrangements, before somebody could bring an umbrella, he quickly walked to the temple, then stood before the Lord, talked something, perhaps he said, giving a report of his trip, came back. By the time people came with the umbrella and so on. This is one thing which I have seen in all the senior Swamis of the order. Mahapurush Maharaj's disciple Swami Kailashanandaji, he got it from Mahapurush Maharaj. Swami Ramakrishna-ananda always used to say, report to the Lord. When you go, when you come, the moment you enter the ashrama, straight go to the temple, report to the Lord that you have come, then only you talk to other people. Swami Kailashanandaji, who mentored me for nearly 5 years when I was a teenage at the Madras Math, now called Chennai, he used to be extremely strict. Anybody entering the ashrama, straight he will go to the temple, report to the Lord, and then only do something else. Report to the Lord, sit there, meditate and do japa for some time, then only he can come down. Once I was going in, once Swami was coming, I just smiled and greeted him. He saw from a distance and severely scolded, straight go to the temple first. No other business before you finish the temple and report to the Lord. He used to read the Kathamrita sitting near the window. We used to watch him. Now and then he will say, he will look at the picture, constantly going to the Lord. Manmana bhava madhubhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. The Bhagavad Gita. Bow down before me, mam namaskuru. Constantly bow down before me, think of me, meditate on me, sing my glory. Mad karmakran, mad paramo, mad bhakta, sangavarjitaha. All the statements in the Bhagavad Gita. You can see. Whenever he used to come away from his room, even if he was going for a washroom, which was slightly far away, he will bow down to the Lord, report to him, I am going to the washroom. Come back and report, I have come back. You may think it's all silly. The so-called intellectuals, the pride of intellectuality, the arrogance, may tell you, oh, all that is simply superstition. If you want to go to the washroom, you tell the Lord that See, you can't but do that. If you think you are so dear to him, just like the children tell their mother. This practice everybody has, every household in India. We used to do that. Master, when you go to the school, and mother will come, bless you, all the children go, study, come back. Master, 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 all the children will cry and go to school. Mother, I'm going to school, I'm going to school. Go, the word is not used. In India, Jachi they will not say. They will not say I'm going. They will say I'm coming. I'm coming means I'll go and come. I'll go and come. Because it is inauspicious to say I go. Nobody can go away from the mother. That's the idea. You are constantly in the presence of the mother. Temporarily for some work, physically you are away, that's all. So don't say go, say come. In Bengali, in Hindi, everywhere. Indian language is a common custom. ঠিক আছে আমি আসছি I am coming now. ठीक है मैं अभी आता हूँ. Every language has this. See, these are certain simple, extremely powerful practices. For everything, invoke the presence of God. Not only huge enterprises, for everything. When you sit for food, these are all teachings which we had in childhood. We were taught, just sit. When the food is served, fold your hands and meditate and pray to the food. Annapurna. We used to say, we pray, Om Pranaya Swaha, Panaya Swaha, Vyanaya Swaha, Udanaya Swaha, Samanaya Swaha, Brahmane Swaha, Om Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivate Nagantavyam Brahmakarma Samadhina, Harihi Om Tatsat, Amritopastaranamasi Swaha. And then one drop of water you sip. Everything should be done by invoking the Lord. At the end of it, again, Amrita Vidhanamasi Swaha. And then you tell the Lord, oh Lord, you are so kind and kind today to feed me. I bow down to you. This was Swami Vivekananda said, in India, religion is in our bones, in our blood, coursing through our veins. He said, a Hindu talks religiously, walks religiously, sleeps religiously, even steals religiously, he says. The dacoits, before they go for stealing, they'll go to the Kali temple, Jai Ma Kali, Jai Ma Kali. They will pray and then walk. So every moment of your life is saturated by the presence and the blessings of God. You feel His presence, you invoke His blessings. That's called Vyakulata. So make it a habit. Any problem, any depression, any unhappiness, any joy, even a piece of good news, information, joy, go to Him directly. Cry before Him. Oh Lord, this happened this way. That's like children. Have you not seen children? The moment they come back from school, they will throw the books. Suppose they have got some high marks. Suppose they got some prizes. Something happened. They'll run to the mother, Ma, today I did it. What happened the whole day? They'll go on talking. Encourage them. Sometimes educated mothers and parents, busy with their own businesses and their own occupations, get irritated. Hey, simply go on, don't go on. Why do you go on check this? The child gets depressed. The child feels mother is the only person who I know. Think of the attitude. Ma chhada amar keu nai. Toma boi ar keu nai. Ramakrishna used to say, oh mother, without you I have nobody. These are great, not only sentiments and feelings, reality. Kamalakanta's famous song, Ar ke cho nai সংসারের মাঝে কেবল Shama Sharare. Dhyan Kali, Pran Kali, Gyan Kali Amar Re. Ar kichu nai সংসারের মাঝে কেবল শ্যামা সারে. There's nobody in this world except Kali for me. She is the only essence. Dhyana is Kali, meditation is Kali, Jnana is Kali, knowledge is Kali, Prana Kali. Kali is my prana, Kali is my vital breath, Kali is my spirit. Ar kichu nai sangsare majhe. In this world there is nobody, there is nothing else I know of except Kali. Like children. When children come and want to share with you something, what they have done, never use any negative words. Ma, এটা ছবি এঁকেছি, ছবি হয়েছে, এটা কি এখানে নীল, একদম ভালো হয়নি. Don't say that. The child becomes depressed. She thinks mother will always feel so happy about my achievements because the child does not know anybody except the mother. Let us go back to days we were children. We may be grown up now. All of us were little children, so innocent, so pure, and so loving. Down the line we have lost it because of the so-called education. You study, go to school, go to college, go to the university, write papers, become arrogant, proud. The innocence is lost. The ceremony of innocence is drowned. Each has a beautiful poem, Second Coming of Christ. The ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. That simplicity, innocent. We think if you are too simple, we lose much. No. A person who is simple, who is innocent, naive, and innocently depending on God, such a person gains everything. Because God is by his side. God doesn't make a mistake. You tell the Lord, oh Lord, this task is given to me, I don't know how he will perform. I will put on my best effort, but you should help me. God says, don't worry, I will come. Ram Prasad, the song which I sang was Kamala Kanta. Ram Prasad constantly used to call on Kali, write songs on Kali. And when he was trying to do his fencing, it is recorded, Kali used to come and help him. Because you invoke him for everything. If you found us cold to get angry, go and get angry on Kali. Ram Prasad sometimes used to fire Durga on Kali. He says, Mother, your name is blissful, Anandamayi. But why are you keeping me in such sorrow? Mago Anandamayi, Nirananda Korona, Tomara Duti Charon, Bine Amar Mon, Anna Kichu Janina. Mago Anandamayi, Nirananda Korona. Oh Mother, you are Anandamayi, blissful Mother, but don't keep me in sorrow. Except you, your two blessed feet, I do not have anything, I do not know anything in this world. And after that, he ends the song by threatening Mother. So he is everything for you. And if you want to scold, if you want to be angry, you can see children. Just find how children are playing. Sometimes they get angry with the mother. Ma! And then mother is busy with something, she is not listening. They'll come and pull the hair and then give her. I'm saying something, you are not listening to me. So innocent. Sometimes the mother gets angry and then beats the child. Child, Then immediately and when the mother is angry and beating the mother, child will go and hug the mother only because she doesn't have anybody. When I used to see mothers getting angry and the child is running to the mother, I said, don't go now, mother is angry. And she will not listen. The child will not listen. She go on again anger. Now I realize why. Because we are all foolishly intellectual. We think the child should run away from the mother because mother is angry. But the child knows I have nobody else except the mother. Where will I go? Swami Turiyananda once said to his disciple, one of the disciples asked, Swami, you are giving us such holy, great instructions. Suppose we cannot follow the instructions and have a nasty fall. What will happen to us? And Turiyananda gave a beautiful example, so touching. A child is climbing the shoulders of the mother. Suppose it falls, where will it fall? It will fall in the mother's lap. He ends the song by saying, Mother, I cry and call upon you, but you are not responding at all. Remember one thing, if I keep on calling upon you and cry, I will not leave you because I have nobody else. I keep on crying to you and finally I die unhappily. Nobody will call you again. Why? People will say, oh, where are you going? To Durga? No, don't go to Durga. Why? See, Ramprasad. This fellow whole life he called on Durga, but Durga never cared for him. Durga, don't go to Durga. So you will suffer, you will lose your devotees. Ami jodi mori, o hara sundari, Durga naam keu lobena, mago anandamai, nirananda korona. This one sentence, Vyakulata holi, অরুণোদয় হয় তারপর সূর্য দেখা দিলেন ব্যাকুলতার পরে ঈশ্বর দর্শন. This one sentence, you think about this. Go directly to him, tremendous longing and feeling, talk to him, pour your heart to him, scold him, get angry with him. Because he is your very, very own. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampa Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.